Next up is Smithfield Foods, and Smithfield won 3 awards this year. So first up, we're going to have Charlie Prentiss, and Charlie Prentiss is a multi Sustainability Excellence in Manufacturing Award winner. As I said, we've been doing this since 2015, and so Charlie's going to tell us about the 2 awards that he won from the Kinston facility, Kinston, North Carolina. So Charlie, please come up. Charlie is the environmental coordinator at the Kinston, North Carolina facility for Smithfield Foods.
What we did at the Kinston facility to reduce air in our facility was what we call an air knife project. Some people affectionately call air the 4th utility. We all know it's very expensive, very inefficient, of course, unless you're an air compressor salesman. Most facilities, on average, industry wastes about 30% of what they generate each day. And we're no different. We're chasing air leaks all the time. We're trying to figure out ways to cut back. And what we realized was that on 2 of our packaging lines, we use air knives. For those of you not familiar with air knives, they don't cut anything. It's more like a curtain. The packages come down the line. They run under the air knife, and the air knife removes any moisture so that when we spray our code date on, it goes on clear and smooth, and we don't have anything running off. Unfortunately, they're tied into house air. So the mechanics will set up these air knives in the morning, get them adjusted. They'll hook them up to the house air. And then, of course, your operator comes in, and they want to start their day. Start cutting on all their conveyors, and cut on the air knife. And no matter how much we teach our operators, they seem to only know 2 positions on any valve, all the way open and all the way closed. So while they're out there waiting on the product to come down the line, when they go to break, when they would go to lunch, these air knives would just blow air constantly. So we got with our maintenance department and said, isn't there anything simple as putting a photo eye on there where we could cut these off and eliminate the operator completely? Maintenance kind of looked at me like I was crazy, because to them, they said, this is simple. We'll have this done for you in no time. So our maintenance supervisor in that area got 2 mechanics. He sent one out, said, you got line 1, sent his other mechanic to line 2. So the first mechanic went with a basic photo eye and a timer. We have all these equipment in our facility because we use a lot of this. So the cost for line 1 was about $500 to install. Our second mechanic, top notch, into electronics, he decided he was going to take it a step ahead. He went with a photo eye, power pack, and a timer, which is about $1,000. They have these adjusted and tinkered with, and now those air knives will cut off if they don't detect the ham within about 3 seconds. So we've saved, we believe, on average, about 77,000 kilowatt hours a year. Now, when I go to management, they always want to know, what did you save me? What did you save me? When it comes to industrial rates, this is only about $4,500 a year. So they kind of look at me. But then Smithfield Foods has some serious and very aggressive greenhouse gas goals. We come out a few years ago and said we want to reduce greenhouse gas 25% by the year 2025. Then we decided to take it a step further, and we want to become carbon negative in all our company-owned facilities by 2030. So a neat little tool, if you've never used it, is the EPA's Equivalency calculator. Those 77,000 kilowatts equal about 54.7 metric tons of carbon dioxide removed from the environment. It's the same thing as about 11.9 passenger vehicles for a year, 60,000 pounds of coal burned, and the electricity to run 10 homes for 1 year. So that's when we kind of get management to sit up, put the smartphones down and go, okay, this is big, we're doing something. So it was very simple. And now I'll pull up the second one for you real quick. So our second project was our bone-in ham netting reduction. The neat thing about this project is, once again, as a company, We ask our employees to come up with cost-saving projects every year. We don't just hit maintenance and operations. This project here was actually done by one of our purchasing agents. This is a gentleman that sits in a cubicle all day with his computer and his phone, making sure we have the supplies we need to run every day. So he decided, hey, our netting comes in about 1,300 feet per case. So in this picture here, so that things will make a little more sense as we go along, these two items here are what we call horns. The netting goes on the horn. You tie the ends. What's left over is called tails. Anything left over in a box or on the end is a tail. You take the horns, you place them in the machine, and these hams slide through the horn. They get netted, clipped on each side, and that's actually how you net a ham before it goes in the oven. So his goal was cost reduction. Naturally, I got wind of his project, being the environmental person, and I said, look, if you're going to reduce, look at solid waste, recycling. So he got all that and calculated it all into what he was doing. So this machine right here is what we call our automatic Rucker. So what we do is we put the horn in, you see the case sitting there, you slide your net up in, close the door, and the Rucker loads those horns for you. What he did is he went out on the floor, suited up, got out from behind his desk, got out there with the operators, watched the process, asked them what would work, what doesn't work, and actually got the vendor in, and they both spent about a day out there with the operators. They realized, hey, can you put me 20% more in a case, and let's see what happens. The vendors, anytime we've ever asked them to give us more, there's never been a problem. So we decided we'd do 20%. They sent us 2 cases. We ran a small scale test, what we call just over 1,000 hams on one size, what we call our ups, our large hams, and the results come back pretty good. There was no performance issues with the operators and the equipment. We got a nice price decrease, but we observed that we had an increase in tails when the rucking machine was working. We did get 528 more hams per case, so we're like, this is looking good. Let's take it further. So they asked the vendor to put 57% more in the case. They sent us 9 cases, and we told the production folks, just run it on everything. When the 9 cases are out, let's see what we come up with. It was a sample size of just under 6,000 hams. Performance was good. Price decreased again, but we noticed that we had about 30% of tail left when we put 2 horns in our rucking machine. So we tinkered around. When we put 3 horns in, we got the exact case loaded on all 3 horns, and our piece count went up 649%. So all in all, we are now using just over 2,000 feet per case. The 2 types of net that we use, the price has been decreased on both of them. Our Grayson, Kentucky facility uses these same nets, so we pass this information along to them, and now they're collecting the same benefits. So what he did for us, he basically annually saved our facility just over $80,000. But once again, the reason I'm here, in that one room, he was able to reduce packaging waste by 2.5 tons. And he's eliminated these tails from the landfill. We have tried over and over to find somebody that would have a use for cotton nets. We've even tried composting. Our composter has taken a run test through his cells over and over. There's just nothing we can do with them right now, but basically they end up into the landfill. So all in all, it was a great project. We're very proud of our purchasing agent. It just goes to show that there's a lot of different folks in your facilities that have ideas if they're pushed a little bit. And with that, I thank you.